I believe we have Mark Farner now on the line. Mark, are you there?
Yeah.
Mark, how's it going?
I'm here, Brandon.
Hi.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How's everything going, Mark?
Going good. Got a little rain here in the north, and all the leaves are turning, and so it's beautiful. And I got to get down to El Paso to get me a breather and enjoy the breath with my friends.
Are you up in Michigan right now?
Yes, I'm in the tip of the mitt. I'm in the lower peninsula, about 35 miles south of the bridge.
And what kind of temperatures are you rocking up there right now? Is it already starting to chill off pretty good?
Yeah, it's 50 right now. It was 42 last night. But
Yeah, that's cold.
It's on its way to a high of 57, brother.
Oh, my goodness. Well, your low, which you'll be in town Friday night for StreetFest, the low for El Paso that night is 64, where the high will actually be 91 degrees. So come on down and get some sun.
Yeah, man. I'm going to soak some up.
So you're going to be here in town. Again, it's StreetFest. It's going on Friday and Saturday. Mark Farner's American Band, they're going to be headlining Friday night. Speaking of being up in Michigan, that's your home. That's where you were born and raised. Did growing up and living in Michigan kind of shape the sound of your career?
Absolutely. I believe it's the influx of people from the southern states that came north to get jobs in the auto factories, back in the 40s and 50s and the 60s. I mean, people were still coming. The auto factories were running strong. People had 2-3 cars in their driveway, a boat, a house. I mean, life was good because the auto factories were here. But the people that came from the South brought their instruments, and this is why the music has the blend and the acceptability, I believe, is a good term for it. But when you hear it, it's like that old Motown stuff. It still sounds good. It came from a place where everybody's getting along because we're working side by each. There's no discrimination. Pretty much here, it's a total different trip for the black man than it was in the South.
Mm-hmm. So
that's part of why people love this music that comes from Michigan and the bands that come out of here.
Well, in your songs, like I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home, and American Band, how do you think the sound of those songs, the lyrics of those songs, how do you think they've maybe changed throughout time, and how do they still resonate today to today's audiences?
Well, the only change that would take place would be in a live performance, because the recording, it goes from the disc it was on to a cassette tape to an 8-track, and then to CDs and what have you. But the audiences nowadays in the United States, when I play the U.S., there are a lot of younger fans because they've seen my new video, the Can't Stop video on YouTube, and they dig it. They dig who I am because I do a little kind of interview on the front end of it, and then we rock this song from, I met these guys at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. I was a counselor, and they were my band to have to, counsel and bring them to the stage where they would be in competition with 15 other bands, and every band's got 10 guitar players.
Oh, wow.
But it's really good. It's like this is day 7, and there's over 500,000 hits on it. It's kind of screaming right along. It's faster than anything I've ever done before. And I think it's the intrigue of that, the nature of how it came about. These guys were at Fantasy Camp. They call me and say, "Hey, man, we got this thing. Would you come out here and do this? We pay your way first-class seats." And I'm going, "First class? Now you're talking. Come on."
What is this Fantasy Camp? Explain a little bit about it. That sounds really interesting. So you get to mentor these younger musicians. What is this?
Yes, it's Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. The headquarters is in Las Vegas. But we have done the camps, and I've been doing them with David Fishoff is the owner, and he loves rock and roll. He gives free, trips for people like this. We had an 82-year-old gal who came in, wanted to come through campus. She couldn't afford to. David said, "Bring her. I'll put her through the camp." So he paid her way, gave her carte blanche. And what happens is we listen to all these campers. We listen to them play, and all the counselors who would be like myself and Kip Winger, and like on drums, we had Sandy Gennaro from Joan Jett's band.
Oh, wow.
And, people, Zigzag, Teddy, just mentors, because by virtue of the hours they have put in on that instrument and the tours they have done, it's like, it's almost like part of who they are. So to impart that to a group of people is so rewarding. It is. It's like, oh, man, this is why I'm doing this,
That's really cool. So when are you going to be doing that again if someone wanted to go and be mentored by you?
Well, they would check the camp and even send a request.
Oh, wow.
That's how these guys, they sent an email because they were on the mailing list for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Mm-hmm.
They were sent a notice that I was going to be in the camp, and they went, oh, man, we got to, and because they were all from Salt Lake City, but now they live all over the country. The guy who, Ken, who's the guitar player in the band, he lives in the middle of L.A., in Pasadena there, and he's got like 5.5 acres.
Oh, wow.
So and it was done on his property. The videos, it's fun. It's just fun, and it's really taken off. So that's bringing the young people. And I still have the fans who are. I just turned 70 on the 29th of September.
Oh, happy late birthday!
Thank you. And I'm still singing the songs in the same keys, and I thank God for that. And I can't wait to get back to El Paso. I'm telling you, I'm just itching.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. Mark Farner joining us on the phone right now. He's your headliner for Friday night of StreetFest. Now, you're talking about being on YouTube. Do you like having the more instant feedback? Compared to, back in the day, you would put out an album and you could kind of guess and gauge how well that album's doing, but it's nothing like now where you can put up a video and then you can instantly see how many people are viewing it. You can look at the thumbs up, the thumbs downs, the comments, and it's instantaneous. Do you prefer that, getting that instant feedback compared to almost kind of more of a delay?
It was more romantic the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. But in this fast-paced world where it's like you almost got to have eyes in the back of your head anymore, it's nice to have that advantage to see if you're going to see how that's doing. If you're barking up the wrong tree, you could switch horses,
Mm-hmm. Pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
So going into a show, like let's say coming up on Friday night, do you have your set list planned out before, or do you kind of gauge? Because there's been some artists when they'll complain about the audience being buried in their phones and filming everything, because then they're not getting the kind of reaction that they want, because they will sometimes adjust the set based on what's performing well and what's not performing well. But then there's other artists too. It's like, this is my set list and you know exactly what you're doing. What's going through your head when you're stepping out there, and do you adjust your set list based on the crowd, or are you like, you're good, like this is what we're doing?
Well, years ago, when we took a poll and had our fans, they say 10 of their favorite songs that they would like to hear me play on stage. And that gave me a gauge to start my set, to build a set and give because we took the ones that had the most, out of 2,700 emails back, we got a good feel for what we need to put in a set. And a lot of it was the 3-piece stuff, the original, the sound from 69 to 71.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that got put back in the set, and we do switch it up some. There's so many songs. But when we come to El Paso, we're bringing all the hits.
There we go. Again, he's Mark Farner, and it's Mark Farner's American Band. They're going to be in town Friday for StreetFest, also performing that night. We've got Starship out there, and we have Dennis DeYoung of performing the music of Styx as well. But Mark Farner, he's going to be kicking things off on Friday. Now, another question for you. I'm noticing here in some of the notes that I got on you, talking about Grand Funk Railroad selling out Shea Stadium faster than the Beatles did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal right there. But then the question that comes after that, it asks, are you a baseball fan?
I'm a Tigers fan.
I would assume that, being from Michigan.
Yeah, I'm a Tigers fan. I'm a home state guy. I'm, Lions, but the stadium actually was torn down years after that because I contribute the structural damage done by the crowd that was rocking that night. Humble Pie was on base. It was their first appearance in the United States. We brought them from Europe because they opened our entire tour for us there in '71. And when we came back, we said, "Man, these guys are rocking. Let's bring them to the United States." So we talked to their manager, and there they were. And we were flying over Shea Stadium, and I was watching it physically bounce.
Wow.
I mean, the bleachers were just bouncing, and those guys were rocking hard. And I thought, as I'm speaking at you guys, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah, I'm going back. But when we landed, there was no limo. There was supposed to be a limo in this parking lot. So one of the guys that was riding with us ran to the phone booth on the corner. This is before the days of cell phone, of course. And within 2 or 3 minutes, we had cop cars racing into the parking lot. We jump in the back. They got the lights and the sirens going. We go into Shea Stadium and get out of 2 cop cars that's got their lights and sirens going. And the audience went nuts. It was better than the limo.
Really? Well, we're definitely looking forward to you. Again, it's Mark Farner, Mark Farner's American Band. They're going to be here in town on Friday, kicking things off for StreetFest. Also that night, Jefferson Starship and Dennis DeYoung performing the music of Styx. What can we expect from Mark Farner as Friday approaches for StreetFest this year?
An explosion of rock and roll that'll touch your soul.
That's what we like to hear.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, there's not really going to be any bleachers out there, so they can't be bouncing up and down because it is Street Fest. It's going to be on the street. But
Okay.
we'll see what kind of vibe that we'll be bringing to you
right.
coming up on Friday, Mark.
Sounds good.
All right, appreciate it, and
Thank you.
bring your sunscreen and your shorts, and get ready to rock on Friday.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys, Brandon and Lisa, rock 'em alive down there in El Paso.
All right.
We're looking forward to it, Mark. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Bye for now.
Bye.